Before you start watching this video, I want to talk about some things that relates to proof of funds. These are some techniques you can use for your proof of funds. But before we talk about the techniques, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that this proof of funds is for those who want to study in Canada, because I realize a lot of people still don't understand certain things. But again, I will keep bringing out my voice here so that 1 or 2 or 3 persons can at least move abroad. I recently got a follower from my Facebook page who is moving to Canada. His visa came yesterday. So I'm happy. He informed me. A lot of people are migrating from my platforms. That is why I created this platform. Thank you so much if you are just joining. My name is Milton Fonkwa, the YouTuber from Cameroon in the yellow dress. So I'm going to be talking about some ways you can show proof of funds to study in Canada. But before I talk about those ways, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that colleges anyways, let me just put it this way. Most colleges, do it are cheap, okay, for international students, are taking a lot of time to issue offer letters. The reason is because they have a lot of influx from internationals, and because they are cheap, they have to take a lot of time to go through the application documents. Examples include NBCC and NSCC. These are, I think, the affordable colleges in Canada that I know right now. 10K per year, you are good to go for NBCC. Though some programs are quite expensive, quite affordable, not expensive, because to me, an expensive school in Canada is a school that begins from 14,500. Okay, to me, I said to me. Then NSCC is equally the same because it's cheap. This is in Nova Scotia, and remember, I have always said the target year, the goal year is to get PR at the end of the day. So if you are above 33, 34, 35 years of age, please try to target colleges in these provinces I just mentioned, and also in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, because the end product of you going to Canada is going to be PR and citizenship. And for you to get permanent residence, you might either go into one of the express entry pools, which you are going to be selected based on points, and age is a factor. So please consider all these things and look into that. But now we are talking today about proof of funds. But remember, the immigration officials or the minister is going to make a statement, I think it's this week, about some possible changes in immigration. Also remember that Canada is also trying to restrict a lot of things, and there are laws that they are going to verify every admissions letter you get. This information is for those of you using agents. To me, if you come through me, I totally understand and I have confidence in myself because I'm the one doing it. That is the reason why most of the time I tell people I don't refer people. I cannot collaborate with agents because I already know. Of course, when I open my agency in future, everybody is going to know. So that is not a big deal for now. For now, I'm just a YouTuber using my research skills and my study abroad experiences. Now let's go to the video proper. Proof of funds is something which is very critical, very technical. If you are not very informed, if you are not very much informed, you may not be able to satisfy this. It is not about showing a bank statement. It is not about putting millions in a bank account. It is not about printing your bank statement or going to any person to give you a bank statement. Now, if you want to study in Canada, your proof of funds has to be like this. Either you sponsor yourself, your parents, which is your father or mother, or your brother or sister. These are the people I always recommend to people who come to me via appointments. I always tell them this is good. And again, if you are not going to be using any of these people, can I use my uncle? Yes, you can use your uncle. But again, you have to show relationship. You have to prove beyond reasonable doubts that this person is your uncle and has been sponsoring you. In this case, you have to bring birth certificate and maybe bring past documents from you and your uncle, transactions like maybe WhatsApp or messages or receipt of transaction to prove that he has been sponsoring you. You understand? But like I said, your father, your mother, your brother or sister, or yourself. And in this case, you have to show documentation to prove where you are getting the money from. Before you study in Canada, you need to prove to the visa officer that you have your entire tuition fee. That is why I always encourage people to take 1 year or 2 years programs, either in universities or colleges, diplomas, certificate or postgraduate diplomas, all good to go. At the end of the day, the byproduct is a graduation certificate which leads to R, and let me say PGWP and PR. Now, A lot of people are asking me how much is proof of funds. If you are watching this video, wheresoever you are watching, know that your proof of funds has to be your entire tuition fee, living cost money, which is $10,000, and miscellaneous, which is equivalent to $3,000, $4,000, or $5,000. So let's assume that your tuition fee is $13,000 per year, and you are going for a 2 years program, which means you have to multiply 13 times 2 plus $10,000 for living costs plus $4,000 or $5,000 for miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is money you are going to use to return back to your home country after your program. Remember, when you're applying for a Canada visa, you are not letting the visa officer know that at the end of the day you are not going to return. Of course, they do know that somehow you are not going to. They know when you don't jackpot, you don't jackpot now. Of course, you don't jackpot be that. So they know all of these things, but you have to convince them beyond reasonable doubt. Remember, I have always laid emphasis on program choice. Program choice is another thing that may remove the food from your mouth. I hope you get it. When you are ready to do this proof of funds, there are various ways. I just explained to you, and you have to show supporting documents in all of my videos. If you type proof of funds on YouTube and add my name, Milton Fonkwa, all my videos on proof of funds will appear to you to watch. Now, in all those videos, there are specific things I always mention, like this one is different. Now, let's talk about the case you are using your uncle. If you are using your uncle, you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that your uncle has been sponsoring you for some time. Then, or maybe your uncle is related to your father, your mother. Of course, birth certificates have to come into place. If your uncle is related to them, now the problem goes as thus. The money has to be in his bank account, right? What is he doing to gain that money in his bank account? He must be able to prove that. That is why it's better for you to be a sponsor, so that you can know the way you structure your stuff. If you're working, you bring documents to back that up. Not working, then that is another way you can think of ways to back yourself up. It is very important. So if you're using your uncle, in essence, you have to make sure documents are ready to back your uncle's claim up. Your uncle must also write a sponsorship letter for you alongside the bank statement if he or she is working, documents to prove that he is working, and a whole lot of stuff. Okay, if he owns a business, documents to prove that the business is registered and where the business is. If possible, photos of you and your uncle and pictures. Great to go. That is for uncle. Now, another thing I want to make mention is you have to apply early in case you want to get a visa. Remember, nowadays, if you delay with your application, that is why I always tell people that when you watch my video, go immediately and apply, so that you give them time to process your document. Then when your admission letter is here, you can now process your visa on time so as to gain access. If they give you, you prepare, and if it's rejected, you still have time to apply because your school program have not started. That is what I always tell my followers. So apply early, or applying early is going to help you a lot. Now, I have said many times that please, a business account is good when you are the sponsor, when you are your own sponsor, and when you own a business. But otherwise, a business account is not good if you are using your father, your mother, your brother or sister. This is the reason. Assuming that your brother is a businessman and you just travel to Canada. Your brother went to Dubai and used all his money. Maybe the next day you are calling him after he bought goods and he is telling you that he does not have money presently. He is going to send to you later. Assuming that this is exactly what your visa officer would think. If you're using your brother and using his business account, what happens if the business owner goes on a business trip and exhausts all the money? And maybe the next day you need money for your studies. What will happen? This is a problem. So my advice is, if you are going to be using a business account, I will advise you to tell the business owner to give you the money cash or transfer it to your bank account. Then prove that he is a business owner who transfer the money to your account. Then do what is called a gift deed. Gift deed letter is a letter to prove that someone gifted you money and you are going to be using that money in your bank account given to you by somebody for your studies. Now, remember, the gift deed is just helping you to tell the visa officer that you did not just brought this money from space. It was given to you by somebody, and this person will also write a letter to explain all of this. And of course, you prove relationship between you and the person. So this is what you are going to do for your visa application. For the guy who got the visa yesterday, he called me one time and we talked, and after that he told me some things that happened, and when I gave him instructions, he fixed them, and yesterday the visa was granted. Meanwhile, others are still waiting. Another thing is, those of you who are going to people to do what is called a bank statement, please be careful, okay? I'm just here to draw your attention to the fact that if you go to some people, they will sit in their rooms and do this thing, and IRCC, immediately they call the bank. The bank says this number, this account does not exist here. That is a big problem. They are going to ban you from Canada. Please put all this into consideration. It is very, very important. We have talked about using a business account, and now let me talk about another key point here. If you want to study in Canada, okay, and you are going to be sponsoring yourself, let's assume that maybe you do not have the money and you want to take the money from somebody and put in your account who the person does not even relate to you. Another trick here is for you to register your business. Even if you do not have a business, register one. When you register a business, this is what happened. Now, when you register the business, you are not just going to sit. If you register a business, now you have to prove to the visa officer later on that you actually own a business, right? The business documents will be there. Now, the money in your bank account, the huge monies that you are getting, where is the money coming from? Use your business to prove that the money is coming from your business, even if you don't sell anything, but register a business. This is what you do. Let's assume that you sell stuff, or maybe your business says you sell stuff and stuff like that. You now, whenever you have money, or when you have the money, you give it to somebody. Let the person go and do deposit in that your business account or that your personal account, as if the person bought something for you. The person should write purchase. All right, because when you are depositing money in an account, you have to write where the money is from. Are you saving? But if you are the one, if you take their own money from your business to the bank, they will put self, and you are the one depositing the money. It doesn't make sense. Since you are saying that you have a business, give somebody to put the money in your account, write your account details, and give the person, let them write the purchases or sales or stuff. You understand? Then you do it like that 4, 5, 6, 7 times before you apply for the business, for the visa. Now, when the visa officer sees that you have a business, and when they are checking your bank statement, they will see some huge sums of money, right? I'm not saying that you should go and put 3-4 million. No, 600k, 400k, 600k, 400k, 100k, 600k, 100k. Do it like this. When the visa officer sees that the deposit is coming from another person and it is showing that it's purchase or sales from something, and they understand that that thing, maybe that thing relates to your business, you already stand a greater chance. You already stand a chance to get the visa. So this thing is about technique. It's not about how much you get. Okay, if you don't have the money, now you can strategize and plan with somebody to collect this money. Then at the end of the day, you use this technique, because now they are going to see that you have a business. Now they are going to see that people are doing deposits, not you. People are doing deposits in your account with the aim of purchases. It means they are buying things from you. Therefore, you are raising money from your business. Now this is going to help you get the visa. Another thing is, if you have maybe something that you are selling, okay, and you think that maybe if you go and you deposit the money, it is going to cause problem. No problem. Let's assume that maybe your wife or your mother is a manager or an accountant, business accountant, or maybe a person working with you in that your business. All right, because of course when you open a business, you have to explain all those things. Give the money to the person to go and deposit it in their account. Don't go and do the transfer yourself or the deposit yourself. Give somebody, so that at the end of the day, they will be checking and they will see that other people did deposit in your own account. And now you are telling them that you have a business that is generating money. And of course, that is true. They will not be beating around the bush again. But when you cannot justify where you are getting money, that is a whole lot of problems for you. Now, let's talk about loans. You can use a loan to study in Canada. And remember, you are going to pay an interest. But most universities that will give you loans are those that are affiliated to the most common loan company. They call it Empower Financing, something like that. So most people get loans from this particular company, and for you to get yours, you have to apply to a school in Canada that is affiliated to this company. This company has some particular schools they sponsor. If your school is not inside, they cannot give you a loan. And for you to check, you have to go and check institution they partner with, something like that. So guys, you have to put this into consideration. It's again, the last thing I would say is do not apply to universities or colleges that are way expensive than how much you can afford. Remember, the higher your tuition fee, the higher your proof of funds, and the more complicated things will become for you. Because if you go and you apply to a school that is charging maybe $16,000 a year, in 2 years it's $32,000, right? Now, what if you don't have enough money for your proof of funds? What if maybe you have all the money or part of the money and you're still struggling to get? It is going to get difficult for you. And those of you who are in foreign countries like UAE, Qatar, when applying for Canada visa, always remember that you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that you have to return to your home country. Home ties will help you. And for everybody applying, remember letter of explanation, your home ties and proof of funds, and of course program choice is very important. Till we meet again in another one.